Test. Hey folks, how's it going? It's Wednesday. We're doing some Blender stuff today. Hope you've all had a good week so far. I've had a pretty decent week. Can't complain. At all. Let's get the background music going. There we go. There's some violin hip-hop fusion stuff. Sounds pretty cool. So let's give this a go. And that's better. You can actually see. Right, let's switch over to Blender and have a look at this rock golem. So we're working on this last week. Now I did a little bit off stream. I've actually got the arms attached now. So what we'll be doing today is just kind of filling other sections out. And what I'll do eventually, once I've got this covered with rocks, is to hide the entire skeletal structure, because I don't need this. Unless there's could be any gaps, maybe, and it will just kind of fill the gap. But yeah, we'll see kind of how that goes. But as it is, if I go into pose mode, I can pose mode. Thank you. Go into pose mode. I can move stuff like that. There's a little bit of sort of a bit too much manipulation in some places, but I can address that if it's causing issues. But at the moment I'm pretty happy. So let's add some more rock objects to this. Now I do have a series of different rock assets I can use. Let's go into my game dev library. Game dev, there it is. I'll pull out some rocks. Now, of course I can shape my own rock. I feel there's nothing going to be matching, but at least I can put some placeholders and then look at changing them up. In my assets folder. Got mine. Got ore, pebbles, trees, tunnels. Mines might be cool, but it's all. Do I get straight in? I probably need to have a I think if we go to the FBX, oh, we've got some rocks here. We can just drag in, I think. Maybe not. Might need to import them. Okay, let's go file, import. What options do I have for import? Oh, FBX, there it is. Let's redo that. So we've got three LODs to that. So we don't need all 3 LODs for this. Let's hide the other LODs. So that itself looks okay. We don't need anything too detailed, so that's quite. I think so. LOD 0 is obviously your highest detail. I'm quite happy with LOD 2. Let's delete those ones. Do shrinking it a bit. Don't need to be quite that big. Still don't need to be anywhere near that big, but possibly something along that size. And of course these I don't know what the kind of detail on these are. I'll probably have to decimate them a little bit, because I don't want to be having too many vertices on a vertex groups. But purely by accident, I don't mind that rock being there as a shoulder. That's quite cool. It just needs a little bit of maneuvering. I kind of like the way it curves around like that. Almost looks like it was destined to be a shoulder. Let's rename that. It's that left shoulder. Shoulder.L. Copy. Paste. Let's put inside the collection first. So copy. we've got 2 shoulders in the collection. Right, let's make that the right shoulder. Over white. That looks to be right, I think. Maybe not. Mirror over X. That's me, yeah, mirror over X, that's the one. Let's go white paint. Well, that didn't quite do what I was expecting. I'm sure I've painted that to the bone. Bone relative. Cool, so it's got the same texture. Although a little bit weird, I have to say. Just need to get these to pair correctly now. There's no point having duplicates of those. Remove all this weight. I know I can probably do this. Well, I know I can do this without the painting. They are parented to the meta rig. Change the objects in current mode. Okay. When I do that, I can see the wave painting for the Switch to link. Object data. I look sick. Yo, what's up? Hey, boss, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope you're keeping well. Begin now. Last week I managed to link the colour fists to the model and it works fine. Trying to link the shoulders and I've completely forgotten what I'm missing. I've parented it. I don't know if I need to link it. I can parent it to the main, but I don't think I need to do that. I need to textures look really good so far. Yeah, these are the boxed textures. So I've not done the texturing, so I can't take credit for that. But and so it needs to be revised because it's not texture's not fully covering up. So I've thrown the texture on there. So I probably need to revise what the texture needs to look like, but it's looking okay as it is for the moment. I sell emotes. Hey Lisa, you sell the best emotes. I'm lurking. Okie dokie. You do your luck. Hope you're having a good evening. I'm gonna have to do a Google, I think. Still bringing Queen of the South. Oh, binging. I keep reading bringing. Keep binging Queen of the South in season 4 of 5 seasons. Ooh, nice. Sounds like it's good so far then. I haven't binged anything for a long time. I keep planning to do a Stargate binge. So I've downloaded all the episodes. And there's 10 seasons of SG-1. So it's going to take me a while to binge all that. But it's one of my favourite shows. And I've watched most of the episodes, but I don't know if I've missed any, if that makes sense. Because I watched it when it was on TV. And you know how TV channels can get where they throw random episodes or they skip ones, or so I don't know whether I've seen them all. So I thought, you know what, let's get all of them and just go through. But the problem is I've watched random episodes because they are watchable by episode. And I've already skipped through and rewatched some of my favourites. Be right back, stream is buffering. Okie dokie, you do your thing. I'll just do a quick search, blend attach. Attach a static object to an armature, replace models. This model's head. Okay, we're swapping stuff out. I have a model of an astronaut that's fully rigged animation. I'm going to replace his head helmet with another model of the planet. And so that's great. And just move over the planet head side up. select shift select armature, switch to pose mode, select a head bone. Right, okay. So it's select object, shift select armature. Yes. Then go to pose mode. Select the bone. And Control P, so. Then Control P. Select the bone. So there we go. Object, pose mode, specifically select that bone and parent it to that bone. Okay, so I go to pose mode now and then move that one. Yes, there we go. That's it. So the theory I have with this, I don't need to weight paint it because I'm attaching an entire object to an entire bone. There's no manipulation, it is just object bone. So I don't really need this skeleton shape I made, but it is very good for me to gauge where the rocks need to be applied. And I can basically build up the rocks as if they're skin or armor. And afterwards, I don't actually need that. It'll just be a series of rocks, sort of attached to an armature. But that's how we're going. So you have to attach it to the bone in pose mode. That in itself is not overly intuitive. Why would you do functional things in pose mode when pose mode is mainly for posing, you would think? But no, pose mode is also for functional stuff. Okay, so I need some other rocks. Sure, I haven't got like I could do like an object browser, to be honest. I'm back. Internet seems stable now. Awesome. By the way, we managed to work out how to attach singular objects to the armature. So you have to select the object, select the armature, switch to pose mode, then select the individual bone you'd like to attach the object to, and then Control P, parent to bone. And that means that entire object, in its sort of whole entirety, is attached to that bone. Seems a bit extra to go into pose mode. Yes, I would have thought just go select parent, which is what I did. I kind of like I just kind of selected that, went, I want to parent it to that. No, that is like one stage. Like select, then to pose mode, then select the individual bone, because you can only select individual bones in either pose mode or edit mode for the armature. It's one of those things that don't seem like common sense. Yeah, it's not intuitive, not common sense. Is that, well, to me, pose mode is literally for just moving your model around, because what it is pose. But yeah, it's also for attaching additional objects, apparently. But anyway, so this whole fist object here is attached to that bone. This shoulder is attached to the shoulder kind of bone. So I just need to add more rocks and attach them to the bones. So one rock, one bone, basically. And that means the rocks themselves will stay in their current shape and form. So the size, shape and form will not change as these bones hinge. So there won't be any deformity, there won't be any stretching. What there will be is probably some clipping between the rocks. I think the only way I can get around that is probably putting like additional spacing based on what. Okay, if I put a rock here, it needs to, the hinge of this needs to sit directly underneath, which it kind of does. It's just on the edge of it. So I'd probably need to bring the hinge of that bone down so it sits underneath the physical rock. So anything that moves will look like it's hinging off the rock. And likewise for this fist. Which, yeah, kind of it's already working with the fist, so the hinge is on the edge. Clipping mesh is just part of the games, yeah. There's no easy way around it. But I want to make it so it doesn't look like the rock shape is warping. Because to me that's not a series of rocks. In my head, I literally just had almost like magnetic. These rocks are like magnetic and they're just attached to each other and they're moving around each other. That's in my head is what the golem was. And if we get it pretty close to that, I'll be happy. But yeah, again, this we look at the player's not gonna like the rocks basically roll around each other. Yeah, and they're connected with some unknown force. Yes, the unknown force in this case would be magic, because magic is the get out for everything, right? But yeah, so exactly how that. But the player should never see the golem this up close. Anyway, the player will probably see the golem at most probably about this close. Probably not even that. Maybe even. So I intend the camera angle to be kind of something like this, like 45 to maybe even down to 35 degrees from the horizontal. So there's always going to be a tilt on it, and you'll see the player running around this way, because you need to be able to see your environment and kind of strategize how you're going to move around. So yeah, the player's going to see the golem at this kind of angle and distance. An isometric view, right? Basically that isometric, but I'll give the player control of the rotation. So you can rotate around, but you can't change the angle, if that makes sense. So you can't kind of move this angle around, but it'll be a fixed angle, but rotation. Obviously that's not a very good example of rotation, but yeah, if you consider the angle to be the same, you just kind of rotate around the player. You get me, yeah. But inspired by isometric games where you're looking down, you see the environment, you're running around it. But I don't want it to be third person where you're basically just following the camera's following the player. And I definitely don't want it to be first person. But and I don't want it to be like full on top down, and you're just kind of running that way. Now I want you kind of a little bit of immersion to the world. There's a few games that have that similar style to it, like one that I haven't played but I bought on my Switch is Tunic. Tunic seems to be a similar style to that. And so you can't move the camera, but things like the remake of Link's Awakening and Legend of Zelda, what's the latest one? Princess. Can't quite see it. Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah, so Echoes of Wisdom, like latest kind of chibi Legend of Zelda games on the Switch, inspired me because it's cool. Like it's all, you can see the environment. There's lots of interesting stuff, but you're looking down on the environment and the player, and sort of you want to be able to sort of see about this much. What I'm going for basically, I don't want to have to fill the horizon with objects. I don't want it to make it look busy for busy's sake, and likewise I don't want to be stuck with an empty world. But it's obviously a design choice for a lot of older games that you look down, that you don't even have to render what's immediately below the camera. Just Google it. I think I like those camera angles. Awesome. Yeah, it's quite cool. To me, I always felt immersed when playing that type of game because it zooms you, it pulls you into that little pocket of the world that you're looking at. Like if I was playing something like Skyrim, I could be immersed by the first person aspect of it. Okay, I'm in that world. I can see the entire world. But when you want to see the character, yeah, it's a lot of work that goes into creating a game like that, as well as keeping the immersion. With this, so I like the top-down looking at stuff. Like you're almost kind of experiencing it as some kind of spiritual being observing what's going on, if that makes sense. So I like those camera angles, so I thought that's what I want to do with all of these, compared to like Revolt Overthrow with the Trebuchet catapults. That it's not supposed to be immersive. It's kind of like you're stood behind a Trebuchet and you're firing forward, and the environment isn't that much detailed. This camera angle also gives dev a larger margin of error. Yes, it's very dev friendly, that camera angle, which is kind of why I'm going for it. Like a solo dev or small indie teams can't make the next big epic open world RPG. That's not achievable. As much as people might think, yes, I want to make the next Skyrim or next Fallout 76 or something, or next from the name of space one is. But yeah, that's a huge world. And all I have to worry about with this camera angle is making sure the player can experience the world in small sections like this. Quick question, why do you still have the camera and light in the project? Because I haven't deleted them yet. Before I actually export them, I normally delete them. But they're useful for texturing. I want to actually so I turn those off. Actually, I can see it that way anyway. Back. I don't really need the camera, to be honest, but I can kind of see how that looks with different lighting. That's probably a bit too much. Maybe it's enough detail for me, actually. Certainly no more detail than that. But yeah, I always delete those two from the project before I export. So first Blender object I made, I forgot to delete them. And I was confused why things weren't quite working correctly. But yeah, I usually keep them in until then. Right. Let's throw some other rocks into here. So that's Rocco 1. Let's find about Rocco 2. What render engine do you use? It's usually the default one. I don't go for anything special. I do HD or anything. I think in Unity it's the universal render pipeline. In Blender, seem fast. Okay. I don't know what to render. Let's go to that anyway. It should but yeah, it comes up pretty quickly. There's only a little bit to render, I suppose. Render pass combine. Doesn't tell me what engine I'm using there though. Not entirely sure where you see the engine, but I usually just use the default. But I'm keeping the keeping it pretty low poly. Sidebar where texture buttons are. You know, that's covering some of the chat, can't see. Sidebar where no texture buttons are. It should have a button for render settings. We've got object data. Constraints, physics, object properties. Camera icon, that would make sense. Ah, render engine Eevee. So you've got Eevee, Workbench and Cycles. Yeah, it's on Eevee at the moment. Oh, the faster one. Cycles is slower. Yeah, I think I've heard about Cycles. I think if you want to do something really detailed, then yeah, I've seen people recommend Cycles for getting the best. Since you're making stuff for a game, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Yeah, so I've got a friend who does a lot of Blender stuff, and I think he goes in for like the quality of the static stuff, but he started doing some animations as well. And yeah, some of his animations look fantastic. Like let's find some of his actually. You can actually see his it's more recent videos as Blender stuff. He's got a few random things on his channel. But he does some weird weird and wonderful kind of stuff on Blender. But that's his YouTube channel. He It does seem really good. So he's the one that made my transition, my Lego block transition, like building up and bursting through. So glad I switched to Linux, because when I use Windows, when I would switch to the render preview on my PC, throttled so much the exhaust felt like it could cook an egg. Yeah, that. So I intend to try and do some Blender stuff on my spare Linux machine eventually, but I'm more comfortable sat here and streaming it at the moment. Once I'm happy with it, or I want to do something a bit more out there, I'll probably go and sit in the other room. But yeah, if you're interested in cool stuff you can do with Blender, my good friend AS Foster Studios. Make some fun bits. Let's take it off that. I watched some of the videos off stream, but just the video thumbnails already look cool. Yeah. But yeah, he's given me a lot of tips over the past couple of years of me trying to do Blender stuff. He was the one that recommended this plugin for getting all these like downloads. Cyberpunk female. So that looks like the same free model that I'm using for my character, actually. So someone's probably taken the free model and then cyberpunked her up a little bit. So some of these things you can do with Blender that way. But very good if you just want to throw something in. Steam Deck rendered in Blender. Yeah, you just do a search for a rock. That's where I found these fists from. Sketchfab also has an add-on like this. I think I've got the Sketchfab add-on for Unity. Don't think I've done it for Blender. So what is this one? Can't remember what this add-on is. We got Rig. Is Rigify? No, Rigify is part of Blender, isn't it? I think Sketchfab. Yeah, I have Sketchfab for the Unity, and that's pretty cool. I just like bring in game ready kind of objects just to throw in. Yeah, a lot of these kind of rocks are far more detailed than I would ever want. These 3D scans always amaze me as well. I would love to get a 3D scanning device of some sort and just pick objects up, scan them, modify them, and use them for stuff in games. Well, that might be useful as a head. Asset is included in the full plan. Support asset creators open source. Okay, so you need to pay for that one. Some phones can do it. Is it like the iPhones, or can Androids I've seen people use their phone for it. Yeah, I'd love to just find objects out there and just go, right, let's 3D scan this. Yeah, I can understand why these are paid plans. That looks like it's a scene out of Death Stranding. Some Samsung devices also have the capability, but iPhones definitely can. Just not sure with iPhones. But yeah, I've always had a Samsung S range of Android phones. Scan of a rocky road. I'm not looking for anything real looking here. There's something that has a fairly unique rock shape. Well, recognizable rock shape. Does have to be unique. But I do have things downloaded already. I can just use those. Procedural low poly rock. Granite. Problem I have with the add-ons is just the fact that most assets are hyper-realistic or just 3D scans. Yeah, that's what I'm finding with this. Like, great if you want to create an environment, I suppose. Game for game dev, not as useful. Especially a lot of these are paid. Is there a filter I can apply for only show me the free ones? Because I don't particularly. Free first. There we go. This is the free stuff. That's definitely metal door. It looks like something out of old Resident Evil game, that one. Created in Blender 3.6. That's what I wanted. Let's find a nice rock. So that's the rock I used for the fists. Very simple, kind of low poly looking rock. Rocks are hard to model for real. Yeah, like I could try modeling my own rock. Mossy rock. Kind of like the look of that. But then to make something that looks like a rock and not just a deformed kind of weird polyhedron kind of thing. I like that rock. That's... Oh, I crashed Blender. Oops. Okay, let's not use that one then. Blender just full on popped on me. Let's open that back up again. Oh, that's annoying. I didn't actually save the damn. But yeah. Nope. It should have auto saves, yeah. Recover last session. Autosave. Ah, here we go. That one there should be a nice autosave. Make it autosave. There we go. Right, we gotta save that now for real. Good old autosave. So let's not look for random rocks. Let's see what I've got in my asset folder already. So I got a few assets already downloaded. Features freaking lifesaver. Oh yes. Yeah. Before attempting to add anything to your project externally, definitely save it. Fantasy Dreamland. Do I have any rocks in here? Oh, that's all 2D assets. Don't want 2D. I need to organize my asset folder between 2D and 3D stuff. Because I've actually got a golem I downloaded for free. But I wanted to make my own because it wasn't quite. I'm not seeing golems that have my envisioned look for free, at least. Mountain Stylized Fantasy. I have a good asset pack with cool rocks. Ooh, cool rocks are always a good thing to have. Best part is free. Nice. That is more of a sitting rock, not something I can use. Okay, back to the import screen. Pebbles, flowers, bushes. Should I send a link to it in Discord? Oh, please do. Yeah, quite happy to. Always happy to get additional assets. Now, is that a good shape? Maybe it's a leg? I like the way it's got that kind of sharp edge there. It might work as a leg. Let's move it out of the golem there. And we certainly don't need all of the rods. Let's yeah, go for the lowest poly log. Don't need that one. Don't need that one. And scale that down a bit. Let's orientate that. So that needs to rotate. Something right edge I'm thinking of there. Ah, is that the edge? That's the edge. Cool. Thank you for that link there. Oh, links. 3 links for you. Awesome. Thank you, Bob. Second one is the asset pack with nice rocks. Oh, I'll open it up and have a quick look now. Ah, Forest Nature Pack. Nice. Awesome. Let's drop that into here. And extract. 2 folders with assets from both Kenny and Kay Lewisberg. That's cool. So they just kind of make a few packs and put up for donations. Cool. Content's free for use in personal, education and commercial projects. Nice. Always got to check the licensing for these things. You never know. It's very hard to kind of enforce any strict licensing. But it's good to know that you aren't going to be treading on any toes. I think that's about the orientation I was thinking. I'll try putting this as a hip. Needs to be a lot smaller, of course, but it's easier to orient it when it's a larger size, but I think that's about where it needs to be. Probably about that kind of size there. We'll do shrinking it a little bit. Let's bring it in that way. Not sold on that, to be honest. Probably a more Oh, no, I'll mirror it, put on the other side, and then we can swap these out. These don't have to be final. But I just like the fact it had a flat edge on that one. And it effectively does give the golem a bit of a butt. I enjoy your stream. Unfortunately, gotta go to bed now. Okie dokie, bot. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for that those links as well. Always good to chat to you. Hope you have a good rest. And I shall see you next time. We'll be back next Wednesday for some more Blender. And on Friday for some Unity. Maybe scale the hip down a little bit on the Z axis. Yes, let's give that a go. Because that's... it's a little bit on the long side. Good night. Enjoy your night and the week. Thank you, bot. You too. See you next time. Yeah, let's bring that down a bit more. Yeah, we only really want it just to be the hip, really, don't we? Doesn't need to be too involved. Because it's kind of like the shoulder. It just needs to cover that joint area. Just mean we can bring that up a little bit more and have a another rock at the bottom there. And do I want to rotate it? Almost feels like I need to rotate it. Squash it again on the Z-axis this way. Let's hide the shoulders because we're happy with those. And we don't need the fists in view either. Just want to see how this shape. Let's scale it universally. What we do is scaling it out a bit this way. That's kind of where I want it to be. That's the end of the violin music. Let's go for that. What are we doing for time? Okay, it's about an hour and 20 minutes. That's not bad at all. That means you're trying to read and remove notifications on your mobile. And it keeps throwing extras at you. Oh, you're looking at the mobile. Quick. Here's 10 more notifications. I've swiped away Sybil. I didn't even look at that because it kept jumping in. Nothing of consequence. Don't know whether that should be a bit more rounded. We'll mirror it over to the other side. I think that's about the best that's going to be. Let's duplicate. Well, let's rename that first. So that is hip.l. And we'll copy that. Well, that can go because we don't need a door then. And then paste and then change that to hip.r. Bring that over there. And mirror on the X. Something along those lines. I don't mind the hips kind of sticking up slightly like that. Just means we can put a couple of smaller rocks here maybe. So I don't want one big rock in the centre really. Probably 2 smaller rocks here and 2 smaller rocks there. Let's put the fists back in place and the shoulders. And we'll apply the same texturing. So now that's on there, let's attach them to the bones. So we need the armature visible again. So select, pose mode. Now which bone am I actually attaching this to? Probably the hip. Control P to bone. Back into object mode. Select object. Select armature. Pose mode. Select specific bone. Control P. Attach the bone. So we now select the armature. Go back to pose mode. But now it kind of rotates, which is probably, yeah, that's probably the best scenario for it. We'll have to put some constraints on these bones because yeah, it goes a bit crazy otherwise. Let's find some other rocks. Oh, don't need to find them. Just need to understand which ones are the best ones to go for. So looking at this rock pack, see what I can do from this rock pack. So assume I can just drag and drop them into the scene really. That'd be quite useful. Let's find the best way of looking at these. Very good square rocks. Maybe for the feet? Feet would be quite good as a square rock, I suppose. So look at that one. Rock 1, C, colour 1. Let's bring that in. Before we do, we'll save it. Import FBX file. Kind of looks like, so also looks like the textures on back to front. Might need like a decimate on that, so let's go for a modifier decimate. It's not decimate, is it? It's see, it's subdivision surface. There we go. Make it nice and round. We're going to auto smooth, do we? It does kind of look like a boot, but it's a bit too round for my liking. It's nice though, I like it. Kind of need it to simple. Do what limit service does. Place vertices at the surface that would be produced. Refine at levels of subdivision, smoothest possible shape. No, don't need to be smooth. Is there anything else? Mesh deform? No. The procedurally operational effects causes faces of the mesh to appear or disappear one after the other over time. Oh. Sounds interesting. Not sure if it does what I think it's doing, but not sure if there's any modifiers that will help me here. Well, it makes me think less low poly. Was it up the poly? No, we'll look for another rock. I like the shape generally. It's not going to work here though. Anything in this rock pack is it's good for very low poly stuff. Oh, this looks like a rock type rock. We do have okay, so they do have some curved type rocks. Ooh, that one looks nice. What's that one? 3J. Let's import 3J. Save. Import. FBX. Be right back. Dock time. Okie dokie. Enjoy your walk. J. That's a nice looking rock. I like that one. We'll shrink the rock because I think it's quite a big rock. Now what should we do with said rock? Well, first of all, I suppose we can look at the Change that to Rocco 2. And add a top color. Yeah, that's now within our theme. That's a nice roundish but angular rock. Shall I use that as actually shrink it a little bit more. Got a nice curve there. Makes me think it may be better elsewhere. And shrink it a bit more. The flat edges, which I do like. Let's rotate. So that flat edge is kind of so the torso a little bit. Yeah, shrink it a little bit more. Let's hide the... Well, it's coming together a bit. Thinking the rotation of it. Let's change a little. Yeah, that's do that. Let's put the thing back in there because we want to. Let's rename that collar, I suppose. Other.l and copy, paste, .r, mirror on the X, and just hide the column for a sec. Cool, yeah. Quite happy with that. Let's parent it to these bones. Parent to bone. Let's go into pose. Yeah, if we want to rotate the collar for any reason, we know the whole thing could turn. Let's check that one as well. Nice. It's working nicely. So let's find another rock and find the place to put it. So we need to find something to go in the center between those two bones. Doesn't need to be too big, but it can be pretty stationary. And I think it's got kind of a rudimentary head. It doesn't need to have anything too human-like for its head. It can even have a square head if it comes to it. I kind of like that one. Eye. Rock eye is quite nice looking rock as well. Let's save that again. Import FBX file. Rock free eye. Change that to rock texture and add the moss overlay. Where can I use that? Possibly the thigh? Where it tapers a little bit. Well, it could be the bicep. Could use it as a bicep. Well, the thigh could work nicely as well. It's just the fact it kind of tapers down to there. I could reshape these rocks. Like, I don't have to take them as is. We're in Blender. I can dull that elf a little bit. Although I could use it because it looks fairly symmetrical. I could use this as a torso piece. Or do I put it as a center bit at the bottom? Let's try that. Let's rotate it so it's pointing down. Let's kind of like that. I don't want to make it look like it's wearing a nappy or anything. But I could have that as that bone there. And shrink it a little bit more. Or I could even use it as a chest. So the fact that it comes down so much leaves a bit of a gap there. So we move it up to be a chest piece. I can kind of sit there, and then I can have a more rounded rock there. Let's shrink it a tiny bit more. Let's hide the gold next. It's going to be and the metallic. I think about there should look quite cool. Definitely needs rotating that way. This probably should be the front there. Yeah, that looks better. I just need like a smaller rock to go in there for the that lower neck area. It's starting to look like a rock column, so need a probably a more squarish looking rock to go in here. Let's go save. Let's bring back in the golem. And bring back in the metal rig, and we'll attach that to this bone here, I think. Pose. P to bone. Come out of pose mode. Back into pose mode. Select that bone. A couple of bits there which aren't aren't coming along with it for some reason. It's let's go chest. Oh, that chest. Onto chest. Shoulders and collars. None of this really matters, but I'd rather have the skeletal shape deformed properly. Sexy gal, whole heap of batty, and whole heap of breast. How's it going, Jeffrey? Good to see you too. Hope you're keeping well. So you're taking a vacation. And very good. Awesome. Yes, one of my internet vacations. That's why I'm late. Of course. Not a problem. All good. Yeah, it's important to do these kind of things. Because we can find ourselves tied to online experiences too much. Not doing bad. Sometimes I just take them for feeling bad. Now I take them since I was in the mood for it. That's good. It's better to do that, I suppose, because if you have to do it because you're feeling bad, then it's gone too far, I suppose. It's got to the point where you should have taken a break already. I'm horrendous for that kind of things. That I take a break from things when Like, I can't not take a break. Which is kind of too late by that point. So I should have taken a break by now. But it's not good for my health. Oh, we can still play Trine, but I'll just be player. That's fine. I was reading and drawing today. Ooh, awesome. Reviving an old project, since it's the only one of my old projects that's still been bought and listened on Bandcamp. There's multiple positive reviews online, so friends said you're insane for killing that one. Well, that's nice. That is nice. Black metal anime theme. Ooh, interesting. And here's a funny thing. I was drawing, photoshopping the art for a new release today. Ah. I was done, and then I was like, this needs a creepy ghost face and low opacity behind it. Nice. Let's put all the accessories back on it. So I decided to take it from a royalty-free place I use. Since I didn't feel like drawing. Like I said, it's Photoshop drawing combo. Pure draw. That's fair. But here's the thing, I made a mistake in the program. Instead of low opacity, I said change all color behind this layer by accident. It's so much better than intended art was going to be, so I made it better by mistake. I love those kind of things. Like, there's been so many things I've been doing in art and music. Like, I wanted to do one thing and ended up doing another one. Actually, I like the mistake. It's cool. It's a new project, by the way. It's from 2021, but I'm reviving it. Awesome. Cool. I'll check it out. This kind of looks like an egg, but I think I can use it. Rock Free H. Let's bring that in. Save file. We're not doing that again. Save file. Rock Free H. Rock Free H. Really low recording quality compared to newer work. Oh, that's fair. Anime Black Metal.bandcamp. I'll send you the art how it was intended and then the mistake after. I did alter the mistake one to make it better, of course, drawing some glowing parts of the tree. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. Huh. I like both of those. I do not. Second one's better. Well, yeah, certainly second one is even cooler. But it's not to say the first one isn't cooler. I think for what you were doing, definitely the second one works for you. I'd say the first one looks a little bit more gothic. Okay. Yeah. I think you've told me about this one before. I do not know how to pronounce it myself either. Yeah, I think I recall you mentioning about how technically it's not named. Because I think you've got a YouTube channel as well, don't you? You subscribed to me with it once. Yes. Right, how do I want to use this rock? Could use this as the base. Put it in there. No, I probably want something a bit squarer for the center there. And I can equally say I want something square for that bit as well. Let's hide that bit. And I'll shrink that down, because either way it needs to be a bit smaller. I mean, it's not as cool as Hadath. Yeah, you can't beat that for artwork. You know what? I'm not entirely upset with that being there. Probably needs rotating a little bit. Hope to see the CD in mainstream stores by the end of the year. Next to the children's section. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Medieval Trap. It kind of works out that way. It's just 24/7 violin hip hop. But Medieval Trap would be quite cool as a subgenre. I like this, yeah. I just basically googled violin rock, and one of the suggestions was like violin hip hop. I went, cool, let's go with that. I like any music that has a violin in it. Let's shrink that a little bit more. Also, if I use the first version, most of the background would be stock footage. So I like the one that's more edited by me as well. Well, yes. That's certainly more unique. Yeah, I'm not entirely unhappy with that. That seems okay to me. Let's hide the meta rig. Do I want to twist that a little bit? I think the unevenness of that makes for it, because I've tried to make some of this mirrored symmetrical, and I want to have a bit of character to it. You can always edit it a little bit and just bulk that rock out a little bit. I don't know where these are coming from, but I like the spikes on the back of there. They're quite cool. Okay. So just need the biceps on either arm, a neck, a head, thighs, and feet. But if I'm happy with that, let's do I attach it to that bone? Let's bring that down a little bit. There we go. It makes sense to attach it to that bone. What we do with editing the armature a little bit and bringing that down a little bit more. Doing something like that. So select object, select armature, pose mode, select bone. And yeah, it's parented to that bone. Let's hide the that there. Go to pose mode. Not quite one way. Oh, of course, because it's an anchor, isn't it? I'll probably hinge it on that point, to be honest, rather than the other one. So I'm happy with that. Let's bring back in the skeleton. Right, let's have a look at some more rocks. So we need, we consider just on one side, we need 1, 2, 3. because we go duplicate and cross, and then 5 more rocks. Unless we use the same rock for the thigh and the I'll say thigh, the leg. It's the whole leg. The leg and the bicep. Right, what else have we got? What's G look like? Ooh, I like that one. F. Rock free F. Let's import that one. Save project. Import. FBX. Rock free F. Where am I looking? Oh, that one. I shrink that might be useful for the neck. Certainly needs rotating a little bit. Oh, I could even use that as the he's back but still binging. Cool, cool. I could use that for everything. I can use that for the arm, the leg, and the neck. Let's shrink that. Still sell emotes. Still sell the best emotes. Besides upper Scam Shrek and Haladalf, I got an idea for another porn grind theme. Christian porn grind. I will call it Anal for Jesus. Like it. Extend that rock a little bit. I quite like that. Where's that? Let's call that leg dot R. Copy that. Leg.L. Let's move it over this way. Mirror on the X. Let's remove the... Oh, how does that look? Let's edit the master rig as well. Again, let's bring up the feet a little bit higher. And bring up the lap a little bit higher. So select object, select armature, pose mode, select bone, parent to bone, back to object mode. Object, armature, pose mode, select bone, Control P, parent to bone, back to pose mode, object mode. And now select and go pose mode, select a bone, oh, that is working beautifully. Got the hinge in just the right place to make it look like the rock is kind of grinding but rolling around the rock above it. Very happy with how that's looking at the moment. Okay, I could probably reuse these two in there as well. So just save on that. Copy. And paste. Oh, undo. Tell you what, easiest thing to do. Because now I've actually parented it, it's going to be hard to work with. So let's go import FBX. There's rock free F. So this means it's going to be unique again. Where do I want to kind of hinge on? We're doing for time. Oh, we're doing okay still. Maybe. I know. That's his head next to him. Not quite. No, this is going to be his arm. Could potentially use the same model for his head, I suppose. And that needs to rotate. What is it? What side do I want to use here? Let's do it that way around. Yeah, that was a bit better, I think. We do that and I'll stretch it this way a little bit. I'm not saying there is wrong with it. I just am not. I'm wrong chat. I go, hang on a minute. Yeah, I quite like that. Okay, so that is now got L. There's duplicate arm. Well, the arms are R. And mirror on the X. I mean, another Twitch chat as well. Cult as Fuck got a new PC since his motherboard, CPU, and GPU died at the same time. Oh, that's painfully expensive. After 2 years, I say that can't be a freak accident. Something caused that. Yeah. So, talking first time since a week. That's fair. Yeah, for multiple components to go at the same time, especially GPU and CPU. Like, I understand, like, CPU, motherboard, those things are pretty much tied. But the GPU as well as those two? And it's very hard to determine if a CPU or a motherboard has gone, because you need to have identical or compatible components to swap and test, and you can't really test them otherwise. So they're very hard to try and determine. Control P. So that, and go Object, Bone. And before any further, yeah. Object, Armature, Pose, select Bone, Control P, Parent to Bone. Go back to Object Mode. Maybe something weird during power outage you didn't notice. Yeah, it's likely if there was a power surge through the whole computer, it might have screwed it. Computers are unfortunately sensitive things. I've changed the way that hinges a little bit. Otherwise, I'm not mad at that. Same with that. Let's go back to object mode, go side view. Let's sides have got them. Probably need to change where that hinge is a little bit. Oops. Save that one. Okay, let's yeah, it works a little bit better for my purposes. Yeah. Not entirely happy with that clipping there, but I think what I might do is probably rotate it from the shoulder rather than the arm necessarily. I'll tell you what, I am going to bring these down a bit more. Do you like your violin hip hop? Yeah. I think most of it seems to be repetitive stuff anyway, but bagpipe hip hop is better even. I bet, yeah. Let's go to pose mode. That seems to work better for me. See, it's kind of like grinding it around against the rock and not kind of through the rock. Well, a little bit, but we need to change the where the armature's positioning. But I'm pretty happy with that. So I could take that rock. So I need a squarish, roundish looking rock to go in there. And then probably the same again for the head. And then two ones for the kind of the feet. So the feet's going to be one rock. So I need one rock duplicated. And then a rock for the neck, rock for the head. So let's save that. What are we doing for time? Maybe E? Let's import rock free E. Yeah, I like that as a neck piece. Let's find a good rotational point. I think that pointy bit needs to be pointing down towards the chest. So let's rotate to that. So it's pointing down. Making progress, by the way. Yes. Yeah, it's coming along nicely. I mean, this one. You can use the wizard designer made for my art if you want. Well, the wizard game. Oh, it was a statement, not a question. Making progress. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'll have a look at. Yeah, because I've got a lot of something mean from me. So here's a do-over. Making progress, by the way. Thank you. Oh, that one. Yeah, I'm sure if we turned your album art into a video game, there might be some sales. I don't know what type of person would buy it, but certainly somebody would. Also agree with Jeffrey. Let's resize this. With his glowing, fleshy staff of power. Yeah, there could certainly be a game idea in that. Shrink that a little bit more. Pretty happy with that as a neck. Cool, okay. Let's attach that to the neck bone. Not that I've moved this bone, but if I want to make him nod, I can kind of nod by the neck a bit easier, I suppose. So we just need a head and 2 feet. At this point, don't really need the little skeleton I made. It's just really a guide. Let's find a suitable foot and head. A little bit more square, I'm thinking. That wouldn't look too bad for a head or a foot even. So rock 3D. I'm basically just going backwards through this list of rocks I've got, and each one I can see has a use. Hey sir, can you help me in 3D modeling in Blender? I can certainly sort of give it a go. I say I'm learning myself. I'm no expert. Most of my information I've got from Reddit. But how's it going? Is that Preuss? Preuss YT? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Yeah, most of what I'm doing in Blender probably isn't the proper way of doing it. because I am certainly giving it a go. I couldn't tell you how to get rid of these excess materials here. I know I've done it before, but I couldn't. I can't tell you off the top of my head how to get rid of these duplicates. We don't need duplicates. I only need one set of material, and just apply it to all of the individual pieces. Now, is that going to be suitable as just a foot or a head as well? I like that bit at the bottom there. There's probably a flat foot piece, maybe, and that's kind of the top of the foot. Where are you from, sir? I am from the Midlands of the UK, near Birmingham. How about you? Where do you hail from? Let's rotate that so it's a little bit more on the flatter side. There's a nice flat bottom to that rock. I think I can use. Just needs to be shrunk to size now. I'm still unfamiliar with all the keyboard shortcuts for Blender. If I knew them all, I reckon I can probably do this a hell of a lot quicker. Let's do an above look. Make sure I'm happy with the rotation of that. Probably something like that. So most of what I'm doing in Blender is by feel. Does it feel? Does that feel right? Could I do it differently? Is there a better way? I'll move that into position. Probably about there. Now, would that be better on the other side if I had that orientated like that? I think so. I think that looks better as a right foot. And then mirror it for the left. Just started 3D modeling in Blender a week ago. Just modeling and use models, make projects in After Effects. Oh, awesome! I want to learn After Effects. I've been wanting to learn After Effects for over 10 years, but I looked at it, kind of gave it a go briefly for a few hours, and then didn't try again. And that was some time ago. But now I'm kind of learning Blender. I'm learning game engines. It'd be cool to kind of animate something and then put like video and Blender effects together and kind of make a very cheap special effects to live video. I reckon that'd be quite cool. Yeah, quite good as like a foot. I like that shape. So a lot of these rocks I've just downloaded. So I've not made these rocks. I've downloaded them, positioning them for this particular project. Other stuff I've molded and sculpted from scratch. But as far as rocks go, I'm just going to use off-the-shelf pre-made by other awesome people that give these things away for free. I recently made a MacBook model, rough model with texture. Nice. Yeah, I'm still hopeless with textures. Like these textures came with one of the rocks and I've just copy pasted them across. Yeah, I need to learn how to do texturing. Because so many indie games you see have horrendous textures. They've not really thought about the texture much or haven't tried. And I think that really lets down how it looks. Like the game could be fun to play, it could have cool animation, but then the texturing is off. It's just, this might as well just be cheap plastic toys moving around the screen. Do a Dutch accent. I don't think I can do a Dutch accent without being offensive. My knowledge of a Dutch accent, because I know you two don't really have that strong. You're great at it. I expect you're great at it. You two, when you talk on Discord, don't have that strong a Dutch accent that I'm aware of. But then I've spoken and heard some of the people that work at suppliers at work. They have a strong Dutch accent when they come to visit us. They're sort of, you can unmistakably know where they're from. And despite the amount of times I've been over to the Netherlands, I've not spoken to many Dutch people. It's been very brief conversations. I think the longest conversation that I've had with anyone who lives in the Netherlands, well in the Netherlands, is when I come to hang out. Right, that is a foot. Foot.r. A lot of what I'm doing here I could mirror across the other side, but I think there's some charm in manually doing it because it means it's not quite symmetrical. It's mostly symmetrical, but not quite. And I'm hoping that comes across as being a charm and not just a shoddy look. Right, so we have a left foot, which we can drag over to here and mirror. Mirror on the X. We have roughly aligned that. So honestly I can make that the head, but I kind of want a big head on top of it. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Let's match these up. So select object, select armature, pose mode, select bone, Control P for parenting, select parent to bone, deselect, back into object mode, object, armature, pose mode, select bone, Control P, bone, deselect, an object. I'm saying it out loud, so hopefully I'll remember it and don't have to look it up again next time. So if I select the armature and go to pose again, I select the foot. Probably need to adjust where the armature is sitting, but you wouldn't need to move the foot too much, I would have thought. course, I could go and edit the model and make it a bit flatter at the top. So I just need a head for it now. Let's hide the armature for a moment. That doesn't look too bad as a magical rock golem. Just subscribe to you, sir. I hope I learn more from you. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the sub. Much appreciate that. It doesn't always pop up on the screen. And if it did, I apologise for missing it. But I do appreciate that. And yeah, I'm learning, and hopefully people can learn with me. And if you don't learn from me, you certainly learn from my viewers. I usually get some very helpful people popping in occasionally that just will throw a tip at me occasionally. And everybody benefits from that. I reckon I can probably make that slightly bigger. There you go, just fills in. There's a matter of slight gaps between the stones because in the world that this thing exists, it is held together by magic. Now these stones are magnetically drawn to each other to create this life form. Meaning that it can kind of sit kind of disguised as a pile of rocks and then just stand up and walk about, as a lot of rock golems seem to do. Let's find one more head-like rock and we'll stick it on top. I'd be quite happy using that centerpiece as a head, but I'd like a little bit of detail on the head. Almost like it's a sentry kind of thing. Let's have a look for my assets I have here. What do you do for a living? I am a software developer and IT tech support for a big distribution company, which is fun. Mainly working in .NET language and C# with SQL databases. So this is certainly more of an escape. Plus, knowing all that software development makes for great indie dev knowledge. Rock-free sea. Let's see what rock-free sea looks like. Rock-free sea. That one. Bring that into the... That's rock 2C. I didn't want 2C. 2. That is an interesting shape. Don't think that's going to work in this instance. Rock 3C I was after. Rock 3C, that one. Then why in Blender? I can make far more interesting models to use in game dev in Blender than I can in anything else. So once I've made this model in Blender, I've rigged it up. I can then import it into a game engine and have some fun with it. So you can't really make models easily in most game engines. I've tried. Didn't come out very well. So I thought, you know what, let's learn Blender. And I can make anything I want. Let's have a look at this shape. What's going to be the best orientation for a head? Kind of like the way that slopes. Let's rotate that. Kind of like that. Yeah, I'm learning the game engine Unity, because that's primarily uses C#, which I'm quite proficient in. So my skill set is already good for the code. And then as I learn Blender, I can then make the 3D models, and then just learning the extra bits in Unity Engine to put it all together. Why not choosing tutorial for software developer or computer language? What do you mean? Why not choosing tutorial? Oh, why am I not showing off software developing? So why am I streaming the Blender? Yeah, because I'm going to be doing this anyway, and I like talking to people. And I stream my the Unity engine stuff, or the coding. So today we're making a rock column. Let's rotate that. Kind of like that curve to be at the back and that be the front. Oh, would that pointy bit be a good front to it? Oh, maybe. Let's I should have the flat face as the front. Would you wear a shirt with a Halal project? No, probably would not. As fun as the image is, I wouldn't be seen wearing it. I like that as being the front. I feel discriminated against. I will discriminate for the... Let's turn that around so that's pointing backwards. Where is it easy to make 3D models of characters, Blender or Unity? Where is easy to make 3D models of characters? Blender? Certainly Blender. Like most advice I've seen online is make your models in Blender. Like you can make a very simple character in Unity, but it has no shaping tools. You can resize things, you can add shapes together, but there's no native shaping, like manipulation of the shape. Like this one, I can change the vertices, I can make it round, I can make it square, I can subtract, I can make a hole through the middle. Blender's very powerful for that. Unity can just really take a shape and make it bigger or smaller, stretch it. You can install plugins to Unity that give you some of the functionality if you want to use just one piece of software. Yeah, I like that better with that edge there. But yeah, it's quite painful to try and shape stuff in Unity. You're better off getting the shapes elsewhere. Well, that's be slightly forward. Let's make it a bit smaller as well. It doesn't need to be quite as big. Though wider would be quite useful. I don't mind it being lopsided either, that kind of works for it. Yeah, that works as a shape. I like that. Can't believe why Blender is a free software. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, completely for free. Just download it, install it, use it. And it's open source as well to a certain degree. So people have made their own versions of Blender that have more kind of specific features for certain things. So you can find third-party versions of Blender that have been modified for certain purposes, but yeah, it's just out there, and they want to keep it that way. Compared to Unity, where they wanted to make Unity chargeable, and then there's a huge backlash from the creative communities about doing so. So they kept it free until you're making a lot of money on Unity, but Blender will always be free. That's very cool of them. Right, let's bring back the armature into that. Yeah, I'm quite happy where that's sitting at the moment. Let's select that. Go to pose mode, select that bone, Control P, bone, deselect, go back to that. Pose mode. Ah, beautiful. I like the way that almost looks like it's rolling around that neck piece. We select the neck. Cool. I think that's pretty much a finished shape of a golem. I think I'll be wanting to do a bit more detail at that. That's my alarm telling me to stop streaming. I would like to do something that resembles a face. Maybe some eyes. Like, it doesn't need a mouth, but certainly some eyes or something that indicates its ability to see. Even if it's a Cyclops, it needs something there. But I'm quite happy with that. Turn off the meta rig. I might still change the material, because I just basically copied one material and it's not great in places. The shadowing is not quite great. Now, maybe I wouldn't mind adding a little bit of moss maybe to these. So I could do with, like, next stream, changing the texturing on it, the materials, and maybe get something that resembles a face on the head. But we can spend next stream doing that. So I'll be doing that next Wednesday. And I'll try and keep Blender streams on Wednesdays, unless I'm feeling like a game. And I'll switch up to a game, but you'll know beforehand. But no, I'm quite happy with that column. I do kind of like this accidental wave shape that's appeared. Maybe when I adjust the texture, I might actually paint in like a wave shape for its vision. It doesn't have to be a round eye. It could be like a bar or like a wavy thing like that. Yeah, and once I'm happy with the texturing, I can probably look at animation then and sort of make some animations for it. Although I could animate it in Unity. I know the animator in Unity is a bit easier for me to understand and work with. The animator in Blender I'm still a little bit confused by. But I'll say I'm still slightly confused by the animator in Unity, because Unity has conditional animations, whereas Blender is just an animation. So yeah, but we'll save that and we'll continue with that next Wednesday. By the way, I'm from India. It's 4 AM night. My parents saw me. I haven't slept. I'll be punished. Oh no, definitely get some rest then. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, it's just hit 11 PM here, so I definitely need to sleep now. But thank you for dropping by. I say I do this every Wednesday, and on Fridays I do my game dev on Unity, but that's a little bit later. I'll still be streaming at this time on a Friday though, but certainly do not stay up on my account. Yes, midnight for you folks over in Europe. But being on YouTube, this is available to watch back whenever you're convenient as well. I'll switch over to my full camera and see my lovely face full screen. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to sign off and get some rest, and so I'll continue with this next Wednesday. So I hope to see you then for that. But my next stream will be on Friday, unless I state otherwise. But looking to do Friday, doing some Unity game dev stuff. So I'll be seeing you then. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you, Jeffrey, as well.
Epic!
Epic as always. Great progress, yes. Yeah, very happy with that progress. Good night. Yes, good night indeed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. So thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Bot. Thank you, Pros. I'm not sure you said Poise. Okay, sir. Good night. Good night indeed. Thank you for the sub and hanging out. Good to see you. Hope to see you again soon. Enjoy your rest. Enjoy the rest of your week. I shall see you all next time. So, hope you have a good night. Good night.